Okay, so have you ever like looked at two cartoon characters and thought, they look kind of similar?
Yeah.
Well, get this. There's this whole fan theory that Richie Rich might be Casper the Friendly Ghost
Whoa.
in like a past life.
Interesting.
It
Yeah.
sent us this awesome article from Medium by Loremaster exploring this.
Right.
And we're going to do a deep dive on it today.
Sounds fun.
Get ready for some childhood nostalgia with a spooky twist.
I love it. So let's unpack this theory.
Okay.
First off,
Yeah.
Casper's backstory.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mystery, isn't it?
It is.
We know he like haunts these mansions.
Right.
Which kind of hints at a potentially wealthy background,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But there's not a ton of concrete info about his life before he became a ghost.
Right. And that lack of clarity has fueled a lot of speculation.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Totally.
Like, if we could ask Casper about his life before, what would he say?
Yeah.
Now when we think about Richie Rich, we picture this kid swimming in money.
Of course.
But this article points out that Ricky's also portrayed as like a genuinely good kid.
Yeah.
You know, someone who values kindness and friendship.
Right. And that shared emphasis on kindness is key here.
Yeah.
Both Richie and Casper are presented as inherently good, which really adds another layer to this possible connection.
Totally.
It's not just about the wealth, it's about their character.
And then there's the visual aspect. I mean, come on. You can't deny the resemblance between these two big eyes, rounded faces. They're like practically cartoon cousins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The article even suggests that if you take away Richie's trademark red hair and his fancy clothes, the resemblance becomes even more striking. It's almost like a before and after picture.
Oh, wow. Seriously, I can't unsee it now.
Right.
So is this just like an artistic choice?
Yeah.
By Harvey Comics?
Or could there be something more intentional going on here?
Right.
Did they actually design Casper with Richie Rich in mind?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fascinating to consider, whether those similarities are deliberate or just a stylistic coincidence.
Right.
But either way, it has sparked some pretty wild fan theories.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Fans are taking these characters
right.
and building on their stories in such creative ways.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like they're adding a whole new dimension to these classic characters and keeping their stories alive.
Totally.
So let's talk about some of these fan theories.
Okay.
One that's really popular is the idea of reincarnation. Could Casper's kindness be a carryover from a past life?
Right.
Where he learned the importance of these qualities, perhaps as Richie Rich.
It's a compelling idea.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider, how central those virtues are to both characters? The theory suggests that maybe Casper's inherent goodness isn't just like a ghostly trait.
Okay.
It's something that's rooted in a previous life.
Right.
A life where he embodied those values.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Some fans see Richie and Casper as representing two sides of the same coin. Richie with all the wealth and privilege in life.
Right.
And then Casper in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Stripped of all those material things.
No.
But seeking genuine connection
right.
really makes you think about what truly matters, doesn't it?
It does.
Like what brings real happiness?
Absolutely. Is it material possessions?
Yeah.
Like Richie has? Or is it those emotional connections that Casper seems to crave as a ghost?
Yeah.
The theory poses those very questions.
Right. And of course, we can't forget about those fans who love to hunt for Easter eggs.
Of course.
Some claim to have spotted little hints or cameos in the comics that support this Richie Rich Casper connection.
Right, like those hidden details that make you wonder if the creators were dropping subtle hints all along.
Yeah.
Of course, these are often seen as fun nods.
Right.
Rather than hard proof.
But even if they are just playful nods,
yeah,
it shows how invested these fans are in these characters and how much they love poring over those details.
For sure.
Speaking of those visuals, I'm curious to hear more about those fan theories surrounding the artistic choices.
Yeah.
What are some specific observations fans have made?
Well, one thing fans point to is the way both characters are drawn with these large, expressive eyes that convey a sense of innocence and wonder.
Yeah. Those eyes definitely have a similar vibe. Yeah. Like, they're both seeing the world with a childlike sense of amazement.
Exactly. And then there's the shape of their faces, both rounded and soft, which contributes to their overall friendly and approachable appearance.
It's almost like they were designed to evoke a sense of warmth and familiarity.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Some fans have even gone so far as to create morph images. Ooh. Blending Richie and Casper's faces together to highlight the similarities.
Really? I gotta see these.
Yeah.
So they're literally merging their features to make the visual connection even more apparent.
And the results are pretty striking.
Wow.
When you see those blended images, the resemblance becomes undeniable.
Oh, okay. Now I'm totally down the rabbit hole.
Right.
Do you think these artists could have been subconsciously channeling some kind of connection here?
It's certainly possible. Creative inspiration can come from all sorts of places, including our own subconscious thoughts and memories.
Right. So maybe there's something deeper going on here than just a simple stylistic choice.
Perhaps. And that's what makes this whole theory so intriguing.
Totally.
It challenges us to look beyond the surface and consider the possibility of hidden meanings and subconscious connections.
For sure.
It's fascinating to think about those subconscious connections and how they might play into the broader themes of this theory.
Yeah.
If we entertain this idea that Richie and Casper are linked, it makes you question our usual ideas about wealth and happiness.
Oh, totally. Like, Richie's surrounded by all this luxury.
Yeah.
But he seems to find the most joy in simple acts of kindness, like sharing his wealth with his friends or helping those less fortunate. And then you have Casper, who can't experience any of those material comforts.
Right.
But he's driven by this deep desire for connection and belonging.
It's a striking contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
It raises the question, what if material wealth isn't the key to happiness?
Right.
Maybe Casper, in his ghostly form, is seeking something that he couldn't find, even with all the riches in the world.
It's almost like he's searching for a different kind of wealth.
Yeah.
A wealth of experience, emotion, and genuine connection. Like, maybe that's what truly fulfills us, not the stuff we own.
Precisely. And this idea ties back to that social commentary angle some fans have pointed out.
Okay.
Maybe Richie and Casper are meant to represent two different paths, two contrasting ways of experiencing life, and ultimately what truly matters in the end.
Wow. We've gone from cartoon characters to pondering the meaning of life.
I know. It's amazing.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple stories can spark such deep reflection.
That's the power of storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can make us think about the world in new and unexpected ways.
So let's say, for argument's sake,
that
there's some truth to this Richie Rich Casper connection.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about Richie himself?
Well, it adds a layer of complexity to his character.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
For sure.
We tend to see him as this carefree, happy-go-lucky kid with everything he could ever want.
Right.
But if he was Casper in a past life, maybe there was more to him than meets the eye.
Like, maybe beneath the surface, there was a longing for something deeper, something material wealth couldn't provide.
Right.
And maybe Casper's journey as a friendly ghost is a continuation of that search.
It's a beautiful concept, isn't it?
It is.
The idea that even someone as seemingly privileged as Richie Rich might have had unfulfilled desires, and that those desires could even transcend death.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see the depth of this theory.
Yeah.
But let's be real here.
Okay.
There's no concrete proof.
Right.
We're just kind of having fun with speculation.
Of course.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that there's no official confirmation from Harvey Comics or the creators. It's all fan-driven speculation.
Yeah.
Based on, visual cues and thematic interpretations.
But that's part of what makes it so fun, right?
Exactly.
The mystery, the debate.
Yeah.
The possibility that there's more to these stories than we initially realized.
It's like putting together a puzzle.
Yeah.
With missing pieces.
Right. Something's been bugging me, though.
Okay.
If there was any truth to this connection, wouldn't we see more direct evidence in the comics themselves?
Right.
Like some kind of explicit link or reference?
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that these stories were created in a different time.
Okay.
Back then, the idea of reincarnation or past lives might not have been as openly explored in children's entertainment.
Right. It was a different era.
Yeah.
Back then, it was all about simple, wholesome fun. But maybe those creators snuck in some subtle hints that we haven't deciphered yet.
Or perhaps the lack of explicit confirmation is intentional. Well, leaving it open to interpretation. Yeah. And allowing fans to create their own narratives within the existing framework.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. It gives the audience the power to shape the story at their own way.
It transforms us from passive consumers into active participants, encouraging us to engage with these characters and their world on a deeper level.
And that's what makes these deep dives so much fun.
For sure.
We get to take all these seemingly disparate pieces of information, examine them from different angles, and try to piece together a larger narrative.
It's like we're playing detective.
Yeah.
Sifting through clues and constructing our own theories.
Right.
And even if we never arrive at a definitive answer, the journey of exploration is rewarding in itself.
Okay, so we've talked about reincarnation, social commentary, the facial similarities, and the lack of concrete evidence.
Right.
Anything else we should consider?
Well, I think it's important to remember the context in which these characters were created.
Yeah.
Richie Rich and Casper the Friendly Ghost both emerged during a time of significant social and economic change in the post-war era.
You're right. There was this post-war boom in consumerism.
Exactly.
And Richie Rich perfectly embodied that excess. But at the same time, there was this growing sense of anxiety and uncertainty.
Yeah.
Which maybe we see reflected in Casper's longing for connection and belonging.
Exactly. It's possible that these characters even subconsciously reflected the societal anxieties and aspirations of their time. And maybe that's why they continue to resonate with us today as we grapple with similar issues.
Yeah.
Of wealth disparity.
Yeah.
Social isolation.
Right.
And the search for meaning in a rapidly changing world.
Wow, that's a really insightful connection. It's like these seemingly simple cartoon characters are holding up a mirror to society, both then and now.
That's the mark of truly great art, isn't it?
It is.
It transcends its time and place.
Yeah.
Speaking to universal truths and prompting us to ask profound questions about ourselves and the world around us.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Me too.
Who knew that Richie Rich and Casper the Friendly Ghost could lead to such a thought-provoking discussion?
It just goes to show that there's always more to learn.
Yeah.
Even from the most unexpected sources.
For sure.
Sometimes the most seemingly frivolous topics can spark the most profound conversations.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
We've explored the theory, considered the evidence, debated the implications.
Right.
What's the final takeaway for our listener?
I think the takeaway is this. Don't be afraid to question, to speculate, to connect the dots in your own way, whether you believe the Richie Rich Casper theory or not.
Right.
The process of exploring it encourages critical thinking, creativity, and a deeper appreciation for the power of storytelling.
That's a great point. It's not about arriving at a definitive answer, but rather about engaging in the process of discovery and interpretation.
Exactly. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe this deep dive will inspire our listener to delve deeper into their own favorite stories and uncover hidden connections they never noticed before.
I'd say that's a successful deep dive.
I agree.
We've gone from cartoon characters to the meaning of life and everything in between.
Been quite a journey.
I'm exhausted, but my brain is buzzing with new ideas.
I must admit, I'm feeling quite energized myself.
Yeah.
There's something incredibly stimulating about these kinds of explorations. They remind us that there's always more to discover.
Right.
More to ponder and more to connect.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
But before we go, I have one final, slightly spooky thought to leave you with.
Okay.
What if Casper isn't haunting those mansions because he died there? What if he's drawn to them because they remind him of a past life? A life of wealth and privilege that he can no longer experience.
Now that's a chilling thought.
Right.
It adds a whole new layer of melancholy to Casper's story.
Yeah.
Suggesting a longing for something lost.
Right.
A connection to a past he can't fully grasp.
Right. It's almost like he's trying to recapture a feeling. an essence of who he once was. And maybe, just maybe, those grand old mansions hold a faint echo of that lost life.
Right.
A life that might have been his as Richie Rich.
That's a haunting image.
Yeah.
And one that I'm sure will linger in our listeners' mind long after this deep dive is over.
Yeah, it really adds a whole other dimension to his character. You know, like Casper is searching for something he can't quite put his finger on, something those lavish settings might represent.
It adds a layer of complexity to his motivations, for sure.
Yeah.
Is he just a playful spirit? Or is there like a deeper yearning driving him to these opulent mansions?
Maybe those Harvey Comics creators were tapping into something subconsciously when they came up with these characters and these settings, you know?
Right.
I mean, who knows what kind of inspiration they were drawing on?
It's fascinating to consider
right.
how creative inspiration can work in those mysterious ways. Sometimes those seemingly simple stories can touch on these profound psychological and societal themes without the creators even realizing it.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a moment.
Okay.
What if this whole Richie Rich Casper connection is just a coincidence?
Right.
What if it's all in our heads, you know? A fun fan theory with no basis in reality.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that possibility.
Right.
But even if it is purely coincidental, the fact that it has sparked such widespread discussion and debate is significant in itself.
Right? It shows that these characters have a powerful hold on our imaginations.
Yeah.
And we're still finding ways to connect with them all these years later.
It speaks to their enduring appeal.
Right.
The timeless themes they embody.
Yeah.
Whether it's the allure of wealth, the importance of kindness, or the search for connection.
Yeah.
These stories continue to resonate with us.
Yeah.
On a fundamental level.
It's just what makes a great story, right?
Absolutely.
That ability to transcend time and connect with audiences across generations.
And the fact that we're still dissecting these characters and their motivations.
Yeah.
You know, debating their origins, speculating about their connections. Is a testament to the power of storytelling.
It's like they've taken on a life of their own. Evolving and transforming as new generations discover them.
Right.
And bring their own interpretations to the table.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The story never truly ends.
Right.
It keeps evolving and growing through the imaginations of its audience.
So it seems like we're left with more questions than answers.
It seems that way.
Is Richie Rich truly Casper's past life? Did the creators intentionally plant those clues?
Right.
Or is it all just a happy accident, a product of our overactive imaginations?
Perhaps we'll never know for sure.
Yeah.
But that's part of the allure, isn't it?
It is.
The mystery, the speculation, the endless possibilities these characters and their stories inspire.
Maybe that's the whole point. You know, maybe it's not about finding definitive answers, but about embracing the joy of exploration. The thrill of discovery, the power of imagination.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Sometimes the journey is just as rewarding as the destination.
Right.
And in this case, it's been a fascinating journey.
For sure.
Filled with twists and intriguing connections and thought-provoking insights.
So there you have it, everyone.
Yeah.
The curious case of Richie Rich and Casper the Friendly Ghost.
We did it.
We explored the fan theories, we examined the evidence, and we considered the deeper implications of this intriguing connection.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we've sparked some new ideas.
I hope so.
And inspired you to take a closer look at your own favorite stories, searching for those hidden connections and unexpected layers of meaning.
Remember, the world is full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled.
It is.
So keep your eyes peeled, your minds open, and your imagination's fired up. You never know what you might discover.
Well said. Until next time.
Until next time.
Happy exploring.
Happy exploring.
And keep on diving.
Thank you for joining CMF Conspiracies podcast. What do you think about the topic we covered today? Comment below with your thoughts on this subject. If you have a conspiracy you wish for us to deep dive into, please send your topic to our email address or leave it in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this.